still annoyed. We're following up on our topic from yesterday. Hopefully you saw it. Man, we think we should be taking a page out of Trump's rally playbook and just getting out here and blasting him. Like we could be doing something every weekend, Brock. We could be getting together a powerhouse foursome, fivesome of Democratic emerging stars and just blasting him at rallies all over the country.
There are going to be protest rallies everywhere, and it could be a melting pot of speakers, all of whom the rising stars, plus some other folks currently out of a job who were in the seat that we liked.
Right.
And we can rope in a bunch of ex-GOP crossovers who have been sounding the alarm, and they can like work on getting those independents and disgruntled Republicans. Of course, Liz Cheney be at the head of that class. But we can get Troop Kinzinger would love to get in front of a microphone and
Absolutely.
take some more shots. I've been after thinking about our discussion yesterday, I'm like, let's get some of these military people out there. I don't want to hear their bullshit about how they're protecting the institution. You're not in uniform anymore. You're a
Right.
citizen now. Hey,
Right.
Pertling who's on TV. Hey, how about Podesta from the CIA? How about Jim Comey comes out of left field and explains to us why what's going on at the FBI is so dangerous? It can be part
Right.
educational. But Sully Sullenberg comes out and says, "Hey, do all our planes have to land in the Hudson River because we don't know where the fucking so we don't run into each other." Maybe he can
Exactly.
explain why the Doji's gutting of the FAA is so dangerous, right? We can get groups of, like you said, 4 to 6 diverse groups, multiracial, multicultural, people with different expertises. They could do a good 60-90 minute show. We could have these all over the country, and people will show up in droves. If 8,000 showed up to see Bernie with Sean Fain in Michigan, they hear Bernie give his same speech he's been giving for 50 years, but never more topical, and love what he's doing.
Oh,
There's
yep.
no doubt getting these other groups together of high profile opposition wouldn't draw people out.
Right.
We want to get out there. We want to air our grievances to each other, right?
Right.
God knows what the chanting would be, but
And
like,
that's how we come together. But that's how we get together. That's how we get everybody under one tent. So instead of just fighting for Ukraine, I mean, what can the military officials tell us about the Ukraine operation and how vital that is? And not to be handing over land, 20% of Ukraine to Russia, just on a whim, though, with that bullshit army that they had that went in there and couldn't win. I mean, yeah, we gave them a bunch of help, but still, we always thought of Russia, especially us Cold War babies, as, another really, really
yeah,
um,
Imperial Army, yeah,
efficient, bunch of killers, right? We thought their army was like ours. That ain't the case. They got equipment that don't work and shit. So that's why they're going over to China and making new friends around the world so they can get, the equipment they need to beat the Ukraine. But we can't help Ukraine anymore. And I would love to hear, the military community's take on that,
yeah.
especially those seasoned veterans who were around for the Cold War and who understand the threat that a rogue nation Russia poses.
Explain to rank and file us like what pulling away the intelligence means in real terms and in like death count, right? When you don't have any visibility on what the opposition's doing. People of authority to explain the damaging outcomes of the decisions that we're making, and some policy experts. Get Fiona Hill back out there. Loved her. Policy experts to talk about the threat of Russia and how handing over and how Ukraine, rolling over could impact the rest of Europe, and then how it can affect us. So there's 20, 30, 50, maybe up to 100 people who could go out as teams and do all kinds of events that would fire up and ignite the opposition. And because somebody's going to find something in what they hear
Well,
that's going to
now
get them
let's
jacked up.
Right. Let's fast forward 4 days, Brock. What do we got until Friday to get this continuing resolution? That's a bunch of bullshit that they're trying to cram down Democrats' throats. I think it's Friday that the government shutdown
Yeah,
is
big.
upon us.
I think Jeffries came out today saying it's a no fucking way. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that. I want this government shut down because
Oh, we gotta have
this government sucks. So like I'd rather have it shut down
it.
than actually functioning because everything it's doing is detrimental to the country. So I'm happy to
Absolutely.
have it shut down. And
Can we
you
talk a
know,
little bit about the
it'll
politics
give people, if people aren't at work, they'll have more time to protest. So to get more people out there.
and more time to be pissed off? Because remember, he's only fired what? And I say only about 100,000, federal workers. There's still 1.9 million out there that are going to be pissed off if their checks ain't coming through the following week. Right? People got families, people got mortgages, car notes, heat bills, rent bill. Like it's a problem to shut down this government. But I also want to talk a little bit about the politics of it. Some of the shit they put in there. No money for federal assistance to rebuild your home if you're a victim of the California fires. No small business administration loans, right? Like we can't get Mark Cuban out to get people fired up about that. Like he doesn't understand that. Right? Like we've got members of the business community that support democracy that'll come out and light Trump's ass up. Right? And we saw it during uh Kamala's run. So we know that we have people that can come out and talk to these issues that are pissing people off. And because it's because he's flooded the zone with so much crap, him and Elon, right? It's splintered us. And what we have to do is get our feet under us, really, and coalesce. And this is the way we do. You and I have the formula right here.
Someone will stitch it together. And like we said yesterday, wherever the big applause lines come, those are the numbers those are the topics and issues that will push to the forefront because those are the ones that are resonating with people. Those are the ones getting a visceral reaction. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's Doji or if it's Ukraine or if it's Social Security. I assume that one, right? Whether it's
Right.
Medicaid, whether it's DEI rollbacks, whether it's like LGBTQ rights, women's rights. I mean, they're 51% of the electorate, right? And, now
Exactly.
the SAFE Act wants to, basically wipe half of them off the voter rolls. Um, yeah, there's just a big roster of people out there that aren't either they've self-selected to stay quiet right now, like all the former presidents. So I punted on them.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of people out of a job. And my question comes to yes, I want them inspired to get in front of the crowds. But even if you
Right.
flip it over, if they want to run from the top, if they want to run for president in 4 years, assuming we still have elections, everyone's going to remember where they were today in the month of
Right.
March of 2025 when shit was on the line.
Hell yeah.
When we're questioning democracy and whether we're going to have a democracy. So I don't
Right.
think Kamala's and Buttigieg's and Wes Moore's and I'm just thinking of anyone who wants to make a comeback into politics
Beto.
who was in a
Yep.
seat, Beto, for anything like the first question the electorate's going to ask is, where were you when we needed you?
Right.
And we need
Right.
people right now. So I don't think you
Right.
can helicopter back in 3 years after the dust is settled and other people have fought the fight so that we still have elections so that you can get elected and you can helicopter in and say, oh, I'm ready to talk about issues again. It's like, no
Right.
fucking way. I think Kamala has to be thinking about that every second. Am I going to run for president again? Because if I am, I better get the fuck out there
Out there.
because
Now.
she ain't getting my vote if she disappears. If she
Right.
pulls Obama, he ain't going to run again. Okay, he's got his legacy thing, and him and Bush and even Biden now, they think there's certain rules ex-presidents have to play by. What the fuck? Them and Merrick Garland can go sit on a beach if that's what they're
Yeah.
choosing to do, right?
No doubt.
But no one who wants back in the game can be doing that.
No, sir. No, sir. And Gavin Newsom sunk himself with that Charlie Kirk interview. I don't know whose podcast it was. I don't know how they ended up in the same room together. But, Gavin Newsom was fawning over this moron, talking about how much his kid loves him and that he might be coming to Turning Point. Really, Gavin Newsom? You're going to Turning Point? Are you kidding me? Like, who are you going to talk to? Are they going to let you talk? I don't think so, buddy, because they don't see the Republicans, they ain't like us, right? They're stuck together no matter what. They don't give a damn about norms. They sent out a memo about 10, 12 years ago to say, hey, we're going ham, okay? Lawless, normalists, we're just going for it. All right, because our existence is in peril. They don't
Yeah.
care about rules,
Oh
norms,
yeah,
any of that shit.
Mitch set the tone.
Oh
There
yeah.
wouldn't be there was no vote for Merrick Garland because he couldn't do it in the last year of the presidency. And then
Yep.
like 4 years later, he slipped, Amy Coney Barrett in, right? Like through the side
Eight
door
weeks.
within like 11 days, right?
Right.
We couldn't,
Right.
you couldn't, 12 months was too soon, and 11 days was just about enough
Just right.
time. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
fucking joke. We know they're just bullshitting their way through. It has about as
Yeah.
much validity as that, a-hole talking about, hidden fentanyl fucking plants in like Alberta, right? Like they just
Right.
make shit up as they go.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now, again, how many people have to die? We got more security breaches that are happening, and we'll never know about it, right? Because it's all top secret info. Five Eyes, it's Four Eyes now. Those nations, what do we got? The UK, Australia,
Australia,
Canada,
yeah.
us.
Was it
Well, we don't
France and
know.
Germany? Is
And
France and
New
Germany?
Zealand. Yeah, New
Oh.
Zealand. Um, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and US. But US ain't in there anymore. Nobody's relying on us. Nobody counts on us for information sharing,
No,
intelligence
and we're
sharing.
shit. No one's going to give us shit because they're
No.
not going to trust Tulsi Gabbard's not going to just hand it to
Oh,
Putin.
God.
So we're
Right.
fucked. So like we're going to learn about threats after the fucking bomb explodes. Like
Right.
we're not going to be cutting shit any off anymore. I mean, that's
Oh,
just danger. That's why I want to get Podesta or someone who's been in the CIA seat to be a part of these barnstorming tours and educate people on what is lost
right.
in Trump 2.0. What is
Right.
lost in America first, and what MAGA is giving away.
Right.
And we need to be educated. We need to be riled up. We need to coalesce, and then let's continue to build that unified message and show America a unified, diverse front. Like we got to, Deb Highland. I want people from every corner. I want, we need Castro out there. We need, like you said, Ruben Gallego out there. We
Hmm.
need, of course, AOC doesn't need any of this shit because she's a one-man army. But she goes, she'll be like a rock star.
Right.
And
What
like we
was
said
the
yesterday, maybe we can get Michelle Obama off the bench. I know she hates politics, but Jesus Christ, she gives the best speech. She's the A+ team in terms
right.
of rallying a crowd up,
Right.
a
And
unified crowd.
but I think we could be getting close to a tipping point because now with the what 220 million cuts or something that Doge had announced today for Social Security, we could see some people's parents start missing checks, right? And when people's parents start suffering, who are not very well off, right? That's when you're going to have some pissed off people. And, we already know that he's got our information. He's got all our sensitive information. So he can flood us whenever he wants. He doesn't care about Tesla stock, obviously, because he's raiding and looting our treasury and our social security funds. I mean, there must be some plan when his Tesla stock is tanking. Auto sales in Europe are down by what, 60%? I mean, it is ridiculous to think that all he's doing is looking for waste and fraud. He's robbing us blind, Elon Musk is. And we're sitting here letting him do it. And here it is, Americans out here. And have you noticed how little coverage the Tesla Molotov cocktails have received? I mean, it just doesn't feel, adequate enough with how annoyed people are at Elon Musk and the news coverage that comes with it. It doesn't seem like the balance is there. There needs to be a lot more coverage of what exactly this clown is doing to us as a country. And what somebody needs to explain why the apartheid rooted white guy from South Africa is running the US.
Well, the mainstream media, right, as you tell me all the time, right, it's moved right further and further right. So like CNN is
All
right
about the
wing,
profit.
MSNBC is like basically in the middle, right? There's no one on the left in the mainstream media. You get to Blue Sky and you get to the independent channels and people are up in arms.
Right.
And
Right.
but those platforms haven't matured yet. So
Right.
that's why we need these town halls and these barnstorming tours, because we, that'll almost, force feed mainstream media to cover what's going on the left.
Right.
And it'll have a dual impact of helping the independents, and and also it will get the visibility out there to, comatose America, that there's a
Right.
big angry mob
Coming your way.
building underneath the surface. And that's why you need the big names out there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as we joked, it could be me, you, and a couple other yahoos, right?
Right.
But we're not going to fill arenas. Like, we need
Right.
the big names to get out there, who are respected, have done the job, and have been in a leadership role. And it doesn't have to be all politicians. Like we said, let's get ex-military people, let's get experts in different divisions, let's get some media people, ex-media people.
Yep.
Joy Reid wouldn't hurt your brand, right?
At
And or
all.
your independent channel. Don Lemon, your independent channel is only
Yep.
going to be,
And be
get
bolstered.
more
Yeah.
visibility if you're out there in front of the huge crowds. So you're going to have to think about, do I want to be, an independent journalist, or am I actually in part of the fight?
Exactly.
Is media, independent media, a part of the fight? I mean, I would hope they're a part of the fight. I don't know why anyone wants to
Right.
sit back and be independent anymore. Speaking of which, like I said, a 40-year editor of Washington Post resigned this morning, right? Because they
Oh, yeah,
wouldn't let her op-ed be be written. But I don't
hmm
know why she was still there. I don't know why she thought her op-eds were going to get there. Like, the message has already been sent. I guess
Right.
she had to receive it directly,
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
like, I was kind of a no shit when I saw. I was like, oh, of course. Didn't Bezos already tell you that he's not publishing your shit and he's out looking to
Right.
hire a bunch of right wing writers? But okay,
Oligarchy lady.
I guess
More.
I-
Jeez.
it must have been a white woman, right? She
You're right.
still couldn't believe it. Couldn't
You're
believe it was going to happen to her, right? That was going to happen to everyone else. Eugene Robinson's article might not get published, but mine's going to get published.
right.
Talk about, like, not reading the tea leaves, but
Oh
okay.
my God. Read the room, lady. But yeah, but
Okay.
we gotta get it going. These rallies need to happen now. We need to scare the shit out of Trump
But
now.
how is Bernie's success not triggering discussion amongst, I forgot that guy's name, Ken Martin or something, the new head
Oh,
of the
the new guy.
Democratic Party, who we have not,
Yeah.
I still haven't, I've seen him like once, like he's maybe on the back of a milk bottle. He's already
Right.
lost in action. And I don't know why also I'm not hearing more from Malcolm Kenyatta and David Hogg. Like, hey, you guys are on the team. You got put into these roles. Like, don't become like a fucking institutionalist. Don't,
Right.
you're there
Right.
because you had an
You're the
independent
new
thought.
breed.
Yeah.
Yes. You're the new
You're
breed.
gonna do things differently. Like,
Yep.
you're given the platform, and now if you're just marching in order and like waiting to see the data and reading polling or whatever the fuck people do in the office of these, the Democratic Party, I mean, it's
No,
missing the mark. You're already, the wave is crashing in.
you know what I could use right now? And Emma Gonzalez with a we call
Oh,
BS.
you know,
You know what I mean? Oh,
love Emma.
Doji is just looking for fraud and waste. We call BS. Doji is just cutting the fat. Oh, we call BS.
Yeah,
Or-
Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, we call BS. I mean, that's what we need right now. We need the chants, the marches, the numbers like
You
they
know
had
what?
out there in Chicago.
What Kenyatta and Hogg need to infuse into the party, and I hope they look at what Bernie's doing. And I think Sean Fine, the union guy,
Mhm.
was out there with
Yep.
Bernie, which
You got it.
is
Yep.
is on point. That guy's a fighter. Is um Look at how the Canadians are acting right now.
Oh, love them. Gotta
For the
love them.
non-sports fans, I'll explain this a little bit, but Bill Simmons has the Ringer, right? He's got that sports
Right.
website that gets into pop culture. And I think he
Right.
coined a phrase called like FU mode, right? It was very, very much a basketball phrase, right? FU
Right.
mode is like when you play against a guy who a guy plays against a team that just traded him, or college
Right.
players on senior night, right? Where they're just in
Right.
FU mode. They're like, this coach, I'm never going to hear from this coach again. And they just go out with reckless abandon. And everyone around them knows you got to stay out of their way a little bit because it's their show, because they're in FU mode. They don't want to hear what
No
anyone has
doubt.
to say. And Canada is in FU mode. They're
They don't
slapping
give a damn.
25% tariffs on the electricity in northern Michigan, and oh, it's gonna be 10% tariffs. They didn't just take the Tennessee whiskey or the Jack Daniels off the shelves. They boxed it up and shipped it back. Said, fuck you, don't even bother sending it again. Anyone who gets in front of a microphone, I mentioned before, the dog catcher in Alberta gets in front of a microphone and he's talking shit on Trump. And, they are starting to talk shit on us, going,
Oh
where the
yeah,
fuck is the American public? How about you
right.
guys stepping up? They're booing the anthem, right? They're fucking turning on Gretzky because he's pro Trump. They don't give a
I
fuck.
love it.
They're in FU mode, right? They are just fuck you, America. They don't care. We
Yep.
need that attitude down here. We need to get in FU mode, the Democratic Party and the left, not with the norms, not with the institutions, not with the handshakes, not with
Uh,
the thank you notes, not with the waving paddles as, ooh, we
right.
disagree, paddle, right? We need to get an FU mode down here and get a whole angry mob together that's in FU mode. Start
Yep.
chanting some aggressive shit and cross
Right.
the line a little bit of decorum.
And that's the way you get things done because that's the way the Republicans have been doing it. They've been in FU mode since Mitch McConnell said, my goal is to make Barack Obama a one-term president. When was that? 2009? I mean, come on.
Yes.
Let's fight like they fight. Okay? If they're kicking, let's kick back. I mean, come on. What are we sitting here waiting for? Are we waiting for the democracy to fall? Right? Is that really what we're waiting for? And then, none of this stuff makes any sense that they're doing, right? None of it. How are you going to get rid of the Small Business Administration loan program? But doesn't this moron understand that America runs on small business? He doesn't, this guy doesn't understand anything about anything. He is the
But
dumbest.
I thought the Latino vote was all about because there are a lot of small businessmen and there are a lot of independent
Exactly.
businessmen, and that's why they were moving to the Republicans, right? That and abortion because for the
Right.
the Catholics, right? But
Right.
small business is all about business.
Right. Right.
Well, now
Yeah.
we're just gonna strip away all those loans. I guess
Right.
you better have free cash flow because you ain't getting any.
Right.
You're not
You're
getting
not
any
getting it
debt.
from the
No.
government.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You better hope you can
So,
afford that new piece of equipment because you ain't getting any help with it.
and Brock, think about how much money that is the SBA gives out every year to help keep America running. These
Yeah,
these
but
businesses don't start themselves.
the oligarchy doesn't want small businesses to thrive because they want the big businesses that they already have entrenched to be more and more dominant,
Exactly.
right? It's all part of that game
Exactly.
of,
Right.
the strong get stronger. But we got to get an FU mode. The left has to. Maybe it's starting to happen. If Hakeem Jeffries put out a little bit of an angry text today, maybe he's starting to get the memo, that
Right.
if he wants to stay in his seat or have any
Right.
credibility in this fight, he's got to show some
You
fight.
know, because I saw a post on either Sky or Twitter that said, "Would you support Jasmine Crockett for speaker?" So that tells me that people are not happy with the leadership right now. And this decorum shit's not going to fly anymore. Not when you got Lauren Boebert, feeling up her date at a matinee, on family afternoon, in Beetlejuice. And you got Marjorie Taylor Greene out here screaming at the president during his State of the Union address. And nobody's mentioning decorum to those folks. How is Marjorie Taylor? I mean, Lauren Boebert's still in Congress. She got the police at her house every third Friday. I mean, it's like, what is going on? It's like, wait a minute. This lady acts a fool on the 1st and 15th because the checks done came in, and she got this kid going to jail, that kid going to jail, all kinds of domestic
Yeah,
violence crap she's
but
involved in, and there's no backlash.
MAGA leadership doesn't care about that. They just need the votes, right? They're just counting the votes. Like
Right,
they don't care who's in the
right,
seat. Like they didn't even want to have to get rid of George Santos. It just got so embarrassing that
right,
they had to throw him overboard. But like it had to
right.
get really embarrassing. Like his lies were so bad and so stupid. Like he's a volleyball player at a yeshiva, a Division III school in New York. I mean, don't even get me into George Santos's lies, right? They were just so idiotic. Even they had to punt on him. But for the most part, they're going to keep their team intact.
Right.
to win votes. Like Mitch
Right.
McConnell, think about Mitch's ring, right? He didn't care about
Uh,
criticism. He's in front of a Confederate flag. He's lying to us every other day. He's playing every fucking trick in the book to maintain power, right? He is the
right.
classic white supremacist politician in America, who's, still fighting the Civil War, right?
Right.
That was Mitch McConnell's reign. But that mentality has really carried the
Yep.
GOP and now MAGA for 50
Yep.
years, like you said. And
Yep.
they've been in FU mode. They have not cared about any criticisms coming their way. They have just been all about consolidating power, be it the courts, legislation, gerrymandering, voter suppression, you name it. They haven't given a
Right.
shit about any criticism along the way. And the
Right.
Democrats
Especially
were
once they
keep trying to play nice, you know?
and once
I
they
mean,
realized they could get away with it with Merrick Garland, then they said, "Oh, let's amp this thing up."
and they keep
Now look
pushing
at
the
them now.
envelope, and who knows what voter tampering went on in the 8 years prior to 2024, but no one ever looked
Right.
into it, right?
Nope.
So who knows? So we never knew. We never looked. We never did a forensic audit of it, so we never knew. And who knows what was stolen in the 2024 election? Yeah, the
Yeah.
two things I just wish we could turn back on, and two of my favorite leaders is I wish Michelle Obama had never said when they go low, we go high. And I really wish
Yeah.
Kamala had never said we have more that like unites us than separates us, because neither of those
Because
two
we don't.
statements have been true. But all right, we'll put those behind us. That was all. We'll get a new message. We lessons learned.
Right.
Um, but the rank and file, I think if there's a theme of the day, I think it's that the rank and file are now approaching Canadian level FU mode.
FU mode. Right.
And the leadership needs to catch up. And I think there's signs of recognition.
Right. Right. And people are getting inspired by the Canadian lead. I mean, I see it on Blue Sky all day, every day. Right? The Canadians are chirping, as we say in hockey, big time, and they're looking to drop the gloves. And like their new prime minister said, you know, just like Canada does in hockey, if you want to drop the gloves, we will win. We will win the fight. So, I'm all with Team Canada. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you
I'm with
lob
Team
at a
Canada.
comment on Blue Sky, and they're just like, "What are you doing?" Right?
Yeah,
Like they're coming after us
exactly.
individually. Like, "Oh, okay,
Yes.
you're criticizing Trump. What are you doing
Right.
about it down there?"
Right.
Right?
Because
And
that's what they want to know. It's impacting them too.
yeah,
I mean, when you look at our two most popular trade partners in Mexico and Canada, I mean, this moron did the USMCA deal or whatever it's called, and now it's basically ripped to shreds. And, like you said, they're sending our shit back because look, nobody else, no other country has an issue with national pride. The only country that has an issue with national pride is this one. Right? We get national pride every 4 years when the Olympics fucking rolls around. All right. If we've got a good team. Right. And now, because of the racism, right, and the way we look at things through this partisan lens, we don't even want to cheer on the US men's basketball team. Right? You got people talking crazy on X, all these MAGA folks talking about, how spoiled rotten, LeBron and those folks are, and they suck and they better. I mean, it's a nightmare no matter how you slice it. But it all comes back to Donald Trump and what he is teaching the next generation of young people. And I'm hoping they overcome it. That's why we need to stomp this MAGA movement out.
we gotta be louder.
Yeah,
Gotta be
exactly.
louder. I'm still convinced that the numbers are with us.
Yep.
Might be
Me too.
wishful thinking. I do think
I'm
it.
with you on that.
I just think there's like a complacency syndrome in America. It's always
Yeah.
been too easy for us. We take things for granted, but there's nothing like having things taken away to get people riled up, particularly on the white side of the ledger.
Yep.
Anytime
So,
anything's taken away, the littlest thing's taken away, it's a
right.
fucking it's
So
mayhem.
I pop into a diner to have lunch with a buddy today, elderly white woman is waving, and I'm thinking she's waving at me because there's nobody behind me. So I waved back. And she says, "No, I was telling my husband a story. I wasn't waving at you." I said, "Oh, I thought we were friends." And she said, "Well, we are." Now, this is an elderly white woman in the South. All right. And so we smiled at each other and we went on about our way. She gets up about 10, 15 minutes later to leave the restaurant, and she comes home and she says, "Hey, friend, you have a blessed day." That gives me hope,
Yeah,
right?
she's
That
probably figured out that if she doesn't have you on her side, she may lose her Social Security.
well,
She may have
exactly.
just done
You
the
know?
she may have just done the math. Like, shit, I need this guy's I gotta vote with this guy. Like, we gotta fucking get these other fucking guys out of here because like
Hey,
I
well,
need to,
but see, it just goes to show we'd rather be nice to each other. You know what I mean? We'd rather make a friend than a foe, right? We'd rather be at ease when we're out and about in the community instead of, trying to get ready for the next active shooter drill or wondering, should I, down here, you really got to ask yourself, should I take my gun with me where I'm going today? I'm going to church. Should I bring my gun?
yeah, probably,
Really
right?
got to ask yourself that question down here.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
it's a
Yeah,
target zone. Been a lot of shootings in
exactly.
churches, Texas,
Exactly.
Kentucky. I mean,
All
was
the
it no,
time in the South, bro.
South Carolina? Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And South Carolina with Dylan Roof. So, when we look around, we don't like chaos, right? And Captain Chaos, Domingo Mussolini over there, that's what he specializes in, and I don't know how they get anything done. I really don't, because it's all just, throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. I mean, there is no plan. That's the thing we
Well,
have
there
to
is
read.
a plan. This time there's a plan.
Well, yeah.
So there are
Well,
guys behind the scenes. I mean,
right,
Musk's doji guys
right.
are like young kids who aren't that efficient, but some of those 2025 guys, like they've been plotting and scheming this Heritage Foundation stuff. Like they
Yeah.
definitely have the blueprint, even if they're not maybe the execution people of, making it happen properly. They definitely have the
But
vision and the
again, Brock,
blueprint for it.
where does 2025 get us? It doesn't help the rich get richer, does it? I mean, because look, when we lose our global influence, look at all the companies that were doing business through USAID, right? That are now not doing business and not getting those
Yeah, I don't
checks.
know. I mean, I guess a small sliver benefit, but there's this whole movement behind it that's all about like just, destabilizing government. Like there's an anarchy ism behind. I mean, you really start reading some of this stuff that's coming out of like Peter Thiel and some of these
Oh,
tech
yeah.
bro guys, like they have these sanctuary, they don't call them sanctuary cities. What are they like? There's a term for it, like golden cities where only certain people live in them. They like really have this utopia mindset of no government, but like it's also like no people of color and no,
Right,
like
right.
it's this whole, you know,
It's
extreme
that
view of
elitist.
what the world can
Yeah.
be. Like all governments are broken down. Like
Right.
so yeah, a lot of carnage would happen before we get there.
Yeah, man. All
But
right, bro. I'm gonna
okay,
stay
so
on this
we
thing.
see optimism, right? We have optimism. We actually think we have a plan that we're going to keep hammering on about
Yep.
getting this barnstorming tour going.
Let's do
And
it.
we know if just a few, we're taking Bernie's lead, and we want something bigger and more multiracial, multicultural, with more topics talked about amongst more different looking people. We think the
Hmm.
crowds will be there, and crowds intimidate Trump. Crowds
Yep.
should scare
Yep.
him and will scare him, and he'll fold.
Well, you
He'll
saw
because he
how
wants the
unnerved he got.
adulation. He'll want the adulation, so he'll figure out what he has to do to get it back.
Yeah, you saw how unnerved he got when Kamala started pulling in those big crowds at those arenas and those stadiums, the same stadiums that he had been to and couldn't fill up. So we know how much the crowd factor plays into his psyche and beats it up. And I just say, let's do whatever we have to do, to really prove that the emperor has no clothes, because this is ridiculous. We're beyond ridiculous now. And it's gone way past, break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah, that glass. We got shattered glass. But
Months
look,
ago.
we're okay. There's some signs of progress. Tracking what goes on in the Congress this week will be very interesting because hope the Democrats are going to play their hand very, very tough and very unified. And I
Right.
think that'll be a signal to us that they've received the message that they need to be
Right.
fighting harder for the rank and file. If they fold, then our gloves are coming off, like at our own side. Like
Right.
there's no time. I think it's a zero tolerance policy for Congress to play it soft this week.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, my friend. Let's
All
go
right,
cook
good stuff.
off. All
All
right.
right, I feel better.
Me too. I'll see you
All
tomorrow.
right, talk to you then. All right,
Sounds
take care.
good.
Bye
Peace.
bye.